Hi all, today we're going to be talking about the developer update that was just posted today because there is a lot of stuff in this and I've had a cursory quick read for it myself, but we're going to go over it more in detail here. I'm going to give you my thoughts, the whole song and dance. So this is, first of all, this is just really, really good to see. We haven't heard a whole lot from the dev team since Rel left back in, May, I believe? So this is just good. This is just good communication. We've been needing a roadmap for a while, so this is this is really good just to see. So we'll kind of go over it. We'll take a look at the thoughts they're doing. I'll give my opinion on it, and you know, here we are. So they say that they're going to focus on updates that bring more long-term positive progress in exchange for short-term changes. This is really good. They say that they intend to fix the problems that the game faces at a fundamental level, which is pretty good. I would like to see more frequent balance changes, but this is a good idea. There's a lot of stuff in this game that does need, fairly big changes to be improved, so this is good. I would like to see some more balance changes, more minor balance tweaks happen every now and then, but this is in general good. This is really nice to see. So they post here their Sunderer rework ideas. And their main highlight here is that it's too easy to blow up the Sunderer. I completely agree with this. This is literally just bang on. So they go over here why why the Sunderer has been weaker and why the Sunderer's role has kind of weakened in the whole game meta. And I'm not going to go over this, you can read it for yourself because I'll link this post in the description, but this basically boils down to the Sunderer cannot be set up to defend itself adequately, and with the way the game has developed, it's just not feasible to run a Sunderer anymore. So they give some highlights here, mostly that you're supposed to actually make a good loadout and make Sunderers more survivable. So they've kind of built the slots into a different meta. So they've had the passive, which is your Sunderer deployment. This doesn't change. They have a deployment set here, which is deploy shield, stealth, and point defense. Now, point defense is more damage output on the Sunderer, but less range. So they do mention that if this doesn't work, they're just going to remove it. I do kind of wonder why this is in the deployment tab. It doesn't seem particularly valid. It doesn't really make sense for deploy Sunderer. It seems almost more like a battle Sunday thing than the deployment Sunderer, but whatever. It's an interesting idea. They're reworking the deploy shield a bit. It's going to be more like a mini Citadel shield, which is interesting. Generally, this seems like a neat concept. Maybe less chance of vehicles just spamming the shit out of Sunderers and blowing up any infantry that spawns. So this is a cool idea. This might be a bit better for protecting players spawning. I like this. This is generally a pretty cool idea. Stealth being put to the baseline certs is really good. I don't know how they're going to make stealth work, if they're going to bake the deploy cloak into, say, the first level of stealth, and then upgrading stealth just gives you more of the mini-map auto-spot range, or less of it, rather, or how they're going to do it. The problem with the stealth mod as it is having the Sunderer cloak on deployment is a pretty big upgrade, so I don't know if they're going to bake it into level 1 and then just make stealth work like other vehicle stealths where you just get less mini-map auto-spot range as you go through it, or what they're going to do. Still, this is good. Good change. Stealth Sunday is way too expensive to cert into, so this is good change. Ultimately, the only problem with this is people are still going to park their Stealth Sundays right in Sunderer garages, but unfortunately you cannot fix the player base. Good idea overall, though. So then you get an armor tab. So Nanite armor is fire sup in NAR in a single slot. This is actually really just handy. This is just cool. This is a huge convenience perk. I would almost actually like to see this baked into other vehicles, because as it stands, there's pretty much no reason to ever take NAR, and fire sup is really, really strong. So I think that this concept could perhaps be baked into other vehicles in exchange for weaker fire sup insta heal, perhaps. It's an interesting idea. I'm not saying I don't play a lot of vehicles, I'll admit, but this could be a way to improve loadout diversity in other vehicles, perhaps. I don't know. But this is a good change. I still don't think it's going to be very popular, because pretty much if your Sunderer blows up, you're not generally in it. It usually just gets blown up by a tank, in which case NAR healing won't save you, and fire sup is just too annoying to activate if you're already outside of the vehicle. I don't think this makes a big change, but still, this is decent. Enhanced plating, just replacing blockade of Mine Guard is handy. It just means that Mine Guard is not a meme pick anymore. It's a good change. This just makes actual, like, just a straight up defense buff handy. Just good change. Reactive Armor. So think of this like ERA. It basically completely blocks an instance of damage from, say, an AP round, C4 being detonated, and it has unique zones on the vehicle. So there's like a front block of ERA, a rear block of ERA. You get the idea. The reactive plates will auto repair on a very long cooldown, but you can cool it down faster if you overheal the Sunday, which adds some it entices Sunder defense, which is an interesting idea. I don't know if it'll be very popular, but this still seems like a good handy. It will prevent light assaults from basically just solo nuking a bus, which is pretty cool. I wonder if this is a concept that they'll take onto other vehicles. Perhaps this could be an interesting type of maybe top armor for tanks, to prevent, say, Liberators just ganging you with a Zephyr or a Dalton. It's an interesting idea. I don't know how well it's going to work, because if you're getting spam from a tank, this is just going to delay it. But hey, at least it'll block C4 light assaults from just instantly nuking you. Still, it's pretty handy. They don't actually mention the Shield Disruptor here in the Armor tab, which is weird. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with the Shield Disruptor. I don't believe they explain it here in this Cargo tab. So I don't really know what they're going on about. Perhaps this is some kind of AoE EMP of sorts that breaks infantry shields. But that would be way too strong. I don't know what it's going to be, because they just don't mention it here. Unless I'm missing something. But whatever. So the cargo slot is basically where the procs rep, procs radar, and procs ammo have been moved here, and Gate Shield Diffuser gets a buff, in that you can actually just straight up break a Gate Shield altogether, making all of your vehicles able to go through it. So support bus should be more handy. Good change overall. It always seems weird to me that the Gate Shield Diffuser only works for the given vehicle, and for a support vehicle like the bus, this is just a good change overall. They give some reasons here about why they're doing this, and it's honestly all fair. It's all fair in general. They do mention that there's going to be possible exploits and griefing using the geometry, because from what I gather here, this cargo change is going to be, you can drop, say, a box. From what I gather, it's kind of hard to read, but from what I'm understanding here, you're going to be able to basically drop, say, a procs rep, or a procs ammo, or a procs radar, and it will maybe have an AoE around it, so that instead of being attached to your vehicle itself, it will be just dropped to form like a field. Since the deployed objects can be destroyed by opponents without destroying the Sunder, yeah, so I wonder if this is going to be almost be like a unique deployment system by itself. Interesting idea. They do mention it's going to be controversial, but it's an interesting idea. My big question here would be, do they still work while they're attached to your vehicle? Because if I can just leave my procs rep on my bus, I'm not going to take it off the bus. And if you have to take it off the bus, that really, really hurts armor columns. So it's going to be interesting to see how they manage this. It's going to depend a lot on how active these cargo pieces are, if they're active on your bus, if they're only active off your bus, what their AoE is like, what their certs are like. It's an interesting idea. You know what? I'm happy to see this mentioned. This is cool that they bring it up. It's an interesting idea. I'll give them that. I'm happy to see they're trying stuff. So they bring in a whole bunch of smaller stuff here. Class reworks. I suspect this will be an infiltrator rework. They say these are going to be discussed more in future dev updates, but we're just going to give a quick overview here. Class reworks, I suppose, is probably going to be an infiltrator rework, perhaps a split into like a submachine gun stalker style infiltrator and a sniper infiltrator of sorts. That would make the most sense to me. I don't see any of the other classes really needing a rework as much as infiltrator does, so this is cool. A new orthogonal non-combat system. I don't know what this means. I honestly have no idea what this means. I can't offer any input here. I straight up have no idea what this means. I don't get it. Outfit Wars improvements, particularly to scheduling tools. This is weird. They're still investing in Outfit Wars, which is kind of weird to me, but whatever. A new facility type in game mode. Maybe this is... Well, they tried to capture the Conduit, which didn't really work. But I don't know what this is going to be like. Maybe a deathmatch style fight over a facility? I don't know. It's too early to guess, but could be interesting, as long as they actually test it. Improvements to alerts and missions. This is cool. I don't know what they're going to do, but cool, I guess. And a new vehicle. There's a lot of way they could pull this. It's going to be a submarine. Haha, guys, go to Osher. Have fun. But my bet is it's either going to be a CAS NS aircraft. Perhaps maybe with a slight air rework to ESFs in general. Stripping ESFs of as much ground attack capability and moving it onto an NS CAS aircraft for all factions. I think that would make the most sense in terms of a new vehicle. I don't see what other role this could go into. My other guess would be an IFV. It's kind of like a stopgap, like hybrid between, say, a Lightning and a Harasser, somewhere kind of in that middle ground. But I don't know. Those would be my two guesses. Either an IFE or a CAS aircraft combined with a air-to-ground rework. I don't see that second one happening, but that is my best guess. They also mentioned that they're having internal discussions on various issues such as server merges, big, and changes to Osher. They bring up that server merges might be ping issues, but I'm really happy to see them actually mention this. God, oh please, oh god, oh fuck, please merge Connery and Emerald, please merge Connery and Emerald, please merge Connery and Emerald. I logged into Connery last night and there was actually a fight with 100 players on, and it was like a 24-48 in a biolab. And it was actually a really good fight, and I actually enjoyed playing the video game for once because there was actually a fight on Connery. So, hopefully they'll merge. I don't see Connery coming back without a merger, unfortunately. But it's good to hear that they're at least discussing this. They talk about AntiCheat Improvements, which, I mean, good luck. The problem with cheating in AntiCheat is that it's always a race between the anti-cheat and the cheater. I think having like moderators on to just straight up ban people who are cheating would be a better method. I know they tried an auto ban system way years ago. I don't think it would be impossible to have an auto ban system in place, where if X class, like say the people who just fly around with the max units, if there's a max unit in the air for a certain amount of time, it should be pretty easy to flag it as cheating and just instantly kill the player. Or straight up kick the player instantly. Obviously, people would absolutely try and find ways around this. Apparently, the old auto ban system had to do, I believe, with headshot rates. So vets would intentionally trip the system. It is definitely a challenge, but hey, at least they're talking about it. You know, at least they're making improvements. That's something. They bring up the playtest of Capture the Conduit. It's weird that it's going to be Thursday and Friday. But whatever. They're testing it. This is actually good. Thank fuck. So, yeah, it's actually a good dev update. You know what? I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I have my reservations. Especially with the smaller stuff, like this non-combat system, whatever that's going to be. The new vehicle might end up being something like the Corsair, which is kind of dick useless, or it might actually be like really healthy for the game. I wish they would go into more detail on these, but ultimately I get why they're not. It makes sense that they're not. I guess they want to have people focus on the Sunday rework, and the Sunday rework looks good. As I mentioned, I have some small here and there, like point defense seems kind of weird to be in a deploy slot. Stealth is probably going to be a little weird to cert. The shield disruptor isn't mentioned at all, so I don't know what that's going to be. But still, it's a pretty good dev update. I'm happy to see them actually communicating. I'm happy to see them actually deliver on a roadmap that has been promised for way too long. And that's, yeah, it's good. It's good. You know what? It's good to see that they're actually trying to fix the game without just making small changes and throwing, more importantly, that they're not trying to just throw new content to fix the game. That they're not saying, oh, here's Osher, it'll fix the game, and then Osher ends up being complete dog shit. Or the construction rework. It seems like they're actually trying to make genuinely important prioritization of projects. So, yeah, it's good to see. It's actually good to see. I'm cautiously optimistic. I will continue to be cautiously optimistic, but you know what? I think they can do well. I would encourage you to be cautiously optimistic as well. Ultimately, the dev team have still a lot to prove, but I think they might be onto something here. I think so. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. But hey, at least we got something after all this time, and at least it's not like completely brain dead either. These changes actually make quite a lot of sense, and even if I have reservations about some of them, they understand that they state their reasoning pretty well. So, it's good to see. It's good to see. So, thank you all. I am sure looking forward to arguing with you in the comments, and I will see you another time. Bye.